What's up guys, welcome back to Quake Combat. We are going to take a look at Leon and Kamaru's fight from the weekend that's just been. Not so much breaking down anybody's game plan, because you can never be too sure what they're doing. You know, you might think they're doing something completely different. So I'm just going to talk about Leon's movement and how that sort of helped him to win, and the attacks that he chose to use. But I'll just break down a couple of things that the guys did really well, and let's take a look at it. So the first thing we're going to look at is this left kick here from Leon. So he stood in southpaw, and I think that one just like unbalanced Kamaru a bit, caught him at the right time. But this left kick was getting spammed from the beginning and to the body, so underneath Kamaru's right arm that was staying really high. Probably because of the last encounter, how he had his hand a little bit lower and he got knocked out because of that kick coming high. So this time around he was probably a lot more diligent with his right hand, keeping it high regardless of whether the kick was going to the body or coming high, because Leon throws his kick on a little different angle than most people do. He doesn't really arc his kick or let it roll over. It comes up on a 45-degree angle. So the benefit of that is it can sneak underneath the elbow or it can just go a little bit wider with your hip and go up on the same 45-degree angle and will hit them in the head, which is exactly what happened last time. So because of Kamaru keeping his hand so high, Leon had a free shot at the body regularly. So we just see that happen there again. So we'll go back and have a look at that. So that's sneaking right underneath the arm, boom, every single time. That one really hurt. And Leon decides to invest that and throw that one into the body again. Very nice kick, and Kamaru's not really deterring that too much with any sort of defense. He's just scooping it with his left hand, which, in my opinion, the best thing to do about that kick is definitely cross block it with your lead leg, or block it Thai style with your back leg, like Peter Yan did in his last fight at the end there. He did a few cross blocks. It's a really good way to defend a kick, and it keeps you pretty loaded on your back leg, and you can bring your knee up very quick doing that. This next video, we're going to look at a bit of Leon's movement. So this is Leon scooting off the cage to get away from Kamaru's jumping, left body shot, left hook to the head. Kamaru definitely had a hard time trying to get his radar on Leon's movement in this fight. Leon used his movement really well. He spent a lot of time in southpaw, going to the open side, going to the power side, which a lot of people probably think is pretty dangerous, but the way he did it kept him like way out of range, and what it caused Kamaru to have to do to cut him off, it makes it way harder for Kamaru to cut him off, because he has to step with his rear leg first across, and then he steps forwards, or he steps his rear leg forwards and ends up in like a sort of a southpaw, or his feet are in a square stance. So it makes it a lot harder to square Leon up for the shot, which I guess Leon was under the assumption that Kamaru was going to pressure him to the cage and shoot, just because he had so much success last time. But I heard from a little bird on a tree that Leon did not acclimate too well to the altitude difference in his last fight. That's what's led to him having a really hard time with his fitness. So this fight, obviously he had no problem with his fitness, and there was no altitude, so that could be a huge factor in the last fight. And obviously Kamaru lives in altitude all the time. So let's take another look at that. So because Leon decided to exit to his right-hand side, the right-hand side, orthodox versus orthodox, is always easier to cut somebody off, because your left leg is already forwards, and that's your stepping leading leg. So that's the closest side somebody's going to move to. When they step the other way, when they're in southpaw, they're actually stepping further away because they're stepping backwards. Here, Leon's actually moving horizontal, and so Kamaru's closest punch to him and his jab and his hook. So it's much easier for him to sort of leap and cut him off. And you'll see in this fight quite a few times Kamaru actually manages to touch him and get hands on him every time he moves orthodox. Leon moves to his right. So in all Leon's successful movement in this fight, this was one of the few times that he didn't really move laterally. He moved straight back and for too long, and he put his chest over his waistline going backwards. So it puts you pretty heavy on the back foot. It makes it hard to be able to move sideways. So Kamaru successfully managed to get the shot on here, because he got squared up against the cage, and he managed to end up in the wrestle on this occasion. If you're standing in front of an opponent and you decide to move laterally, sometimes, or most of the time, if you don't do anything first and you just move laterally, they can just step and catch up to you, relatively quickly, especially if you're going to your right, or even if you're going to your left. It can be pretty easy for them just to like incrementally walk forwards and walk sideways at the same time, and they start to press you towards the cage. So a good thing to do is you can attack them first and then start to move sideways, because when you attack them, especially in this case, Kamaru would block the kick, or it would make him go static and flat-footed for a second. So as Leon's leg retracted, he would start to move laterally again and actually get away from Kamaru. So this is a really good example of that here. Boom, throws the kick, it moves Kamaru backwards, and Leon starts to move away after that. So it gives him a little bit of distance here, and you can see Kamaru start to skip after him and, not really get to cut him off or pressure him into the cage again. So in this particular situation here, Leon actually sort of ran out of room. He ended up in that little black line right up against the cage, so he couldn't actually move his lead leg back any further to be able to move out of range of Kamaru. So he ended up, square, and his feet were in a line with each other, and he chose to go to the right hand side. So it's very easy for Kamaru to actually cut him off here and land a shot. This was a really good fake by Leon. Leon actually faked the rear kick, and Kamaru went to block it because he thought it was coming to the body, and he steps forwards. And whether or not he got to attack or not is irrelevant. What it actually did is force Kamaru backwards. So it actually gave Leon the center of the cage again. So here we have another example of like Leon starting to move away and Kamaru starting to move after him. And so what he does is he throws his left kick, and that stops Kamaru still because he goes to defend it. He tries to move away from it, and then Leon gets some more time to actually move away again. Now you can see he's got that beautiful distance. He's way out of range. Now he stops and he fakes, and that keeps Kamaru still. So his movement was pretty amazing in this fight. So he had a really good balance between scooting away, attacking, and then stopping, being static, and faking and causing Kamaru to stop. So what it caused Kamaru to do was like have to go, sometimes chase and catch up, or sometimes be like, oh shit, I need to stop because he's looking like he's going to hit me, or sometimes he had to pressure forward. So it just kept him sort of in limbo. It never really gave him, like a comfortable time to shoot, to punch, to kick. It didn't really let him get on rhythm. This one here is Leon throwing another low kick again, and it knocks Kamaru's leg out a little bit, and it makes it harder for him to chase and catch up to Leon there. That jab falls a bit short. Leon gets to move away. Boom, he's moving to the right. Now he's going to, beautiful. See, he forces him back. He doesn't just keep moving all the time. He's bopping around. He goes to the right again. He's staying really, really long on that right-hand side. Now you see him. That example there is what he did earlier with the fake kick. So with the fake kick, he, lifted his knee, stepped over, and Kamaru actually moved backwards in respect of that kick. Unfortunately, that time it didn't actually work. He went to step forwards and try to force Kamaru back to the center. He moved a little bit, but he decided to stop and punch instead. So Leon's been moving the whole time, and Kamaru's been having a hard time gauging him and getting some shots off. So now we're going to take a look at what happens when he stops moving. So he stopped moving here. Kamaru, he jabs, and Kamaru slips and throws that too, and actually catches him on the chin beautifully. Boom! And that keeps Leon a bit more static. And now look, Kamaru's like, oh yeah, he's not moving so much. I'm going to go on. He starts to attack. Boom! Beautiful. Sneaks under, gets that takedown. So we can see what probably would have happened in this fight if Leon didn't have that same movement that he did use, right? He would have ended up a bit more static, getting punched and getting rested on the cage a lot. So this is what his movement allowed him to do. This one, Leon throws the the up kick to the body. It causes Kamaru to move backwards. It gives Leon some space to move off and get away. And Kamaru's not really chasing him there to cut him off at all. He's just sort of like moving around with him in a circular motion. Kamaru takes a fake shot. So he level changes and acts like he's going to shoot him because Leon's quite close to the cage. So intelligently, Leon just flicks his left kick up really, really quickly. Probably not that hard, just fast, because if you do shoot, you might shoot into that knee, and that's like detrimental. So obviously, this is a big deterrent. Here we have another example of Leon's beautiful rear kick, his up kick, forcing Kamaru back, keeping him out of space. Just a little fake there to keep him out of range as well. Really, really good work here from the champ. This is some really, really good movement we're looking at. Boom. This is from Kamaru I'm talking about as well. Now you can see what I mean by moving to the right-hand side against the orthodox fighter. It's easier to catch up. So Kamaru's really, but now he's going to the left. See how he has to step with his rear leg first. And watch Kamaru's back foot here. It has to step across, and then his lead leg has to catch up. Across, and then his lead leg has to catch up. So it's a bit harder to catch up to people going that way. You have to actually put your feet before you can throw, whereas on the other side, you can just start launching forwards because your foot's already pointing in that direction. Okay, so this next one we got coming up is a really good example of the movement that Leon is using. He's going to shuffle to his left. He's in southpaw, so that's pulling long away from Kamaru. So Kamaru has to step with that back foot again, start to try and catch up. And he's going to bounce between southpaw and orthodox. And you're going to see the difference in the movement. So here he steps back into southpaw, he goes long. Kamaru's going to go, it's hard stepping forwards if you're a lead jab to get him because he's drifting that way. Southpaw, he drifts long. Beautiful. He's staying away from him. He's got to step with his back foot. Big steps there to try and catch up. It's very hard. And he gives him a little low kick just to interrupt that movement. Kamaru gets him back one, very nice. Now he's drifting. Bang! He gets hit. So he starts drifting orthodox. He gets hit straight away. So you can see Leon has a lot more success going. He got hit again going orthodox and going to the right, just because it's easier to catch somebody going that way if you're an orthodox fighter. So this one's pretty good too. He's in southpaw. He's drifting away. He's going to go into orthodox and start drifting back, and that's easier for Kamaru to catch up. So instead of just drifting, he stops and does a fake. That keeps Kamaru a little more wary and on his toes, and he goes back, throws the kick, beautiful, drifts away. This stuff's keeping Kamaru at range a little bit, and then he decides to come into the pocket here, have a little bit of a dust up, why not? Okay, and here's our last example of Leon in this video getting too static, and it was towards the end of the fight anyway. And he got a little bit too static here. Kamaru and him have like a little bit of a punch off, and then Kamaru is going to dip under his hand and get his arms around that waist and start that Kamaru Usman drowning session that he does. But this fight was awesome. It might have not been as action packed as the one before that with Rafa and Gaethje, but on a technical level, this was quite a movement masterpiece from Leon. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that. And leave some fights in the comments that you'd like me to break down. I'll have a look at them and see if I can provide like any decent insight to them. And yeah, keep watching.